Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode I will be reviewing the SOG Salute. So you're looking at the SOG Salute in its packaging, and as you can see right here, it is part of the Fusion series by SOG, which are the value or cheaper knives or value knives, but they still seem to retain a lot of quality for the price. Now, last week I went ahead and reviewed the CRKT M16-14 ZSF, which was a value priced knife by CRKT, and this is a tactical folder. Well, let's see how SOG's tactical folder, this is about the same price range as the CRKT, and roughly the same dimensions, and they're both pretty heavy knives, so they sort of fall in the same category. So I'm curious how it stands up to the CRKT. They are in the same price range, so you could probably get them anywhere between $25 and $40. You know, the price range of knives really can range from by almost 50% from one vendor to the next, so you just never know. I personally had gotten this for about $35. So we'll go ahead, well, let me go ahead and just show you the packaging real quick, just so you know what to look for in the store. And of course I always get stuck with the blister packs instead of the boxes, but that's what the packaging looks like in the front. And we'll go ahead and turn around and look at the back. And this, by the way, for our first Fusion tactical folder, we wanted something that was progressive and performance driven. The Salute is an acknowledgement of that great design, and it can still be affordable with a little perseverance. So, I can't read. So, we'll go ahead and break out the openers. You might have saw it sneaking into the frame there. And we'll go ahead and open this packaging safely, since I tend to sort of scare people when I pick up sharp objects. I'm going to go ahead and include the whole opening with the openers. I always get questions when I use this. I did a video a while back, but you know, new viewers will come rolling into the channel and they don't have time to sort of go back through the old ones. I understand that. I have such, you know, little amount of time to dedicate to, you know, my videos and the time that I spend here on YouTube compared to what I used to a year ago. So it really takes a lot of effort to keep these rolling in twice a week. Let's go ahead and open this up. And let's go ahead and get a first impression here. Actually, let me put this aside and see what else that we get in the packaging and set it aside. And we get a catalog, Living on the Edge by SOG.com. They have a Flickr account, they have a YouTube account, they have Twitter, they have Facebook. You can subscribe and be on the forefront of all the information SOG. So they have a lot of cool knives and multi-tools. We reviewed this recently, and I probably have none of these. I can't afford them. And on the other side you had the Fusion series, which is this is part of, which is their value series. Alright, so we'll set the catalog aside and get to what we wanted to buy here. So this is the SOG Salute. So first of all, the first thing that you notice when you first pick this up is the weight. And you know what? My notes do not have the weight. So now I have to cut, take a weight, and be right back. Okay, it's 4.9 ounces. I also just threw the CRKT M16 here, and it weighs 6.2 ounces. So a little bit lighter. So pretty good. And the camera's having a little hard time focusing on just that black. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to scoot this paper in here so maybe the camera could have that sharp edge to focus on, or maybe not. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and zoom on down closer so we'll have an easier time focusing. Could also add some light. There we go. My lighting's been sucking lately, and I know, and it's because I'm sort of rushing to try to get everything in. So here we go. So we'll take a close look at that. Let's take a look at the other side. And let's see how it feels. Okay, it does feel pretty good in the hand. You have some jimping right there. But one thing I noticed when you grab this really tight, there's some grooves in my finger. It seems like the liner, which sort of comes out a little bit from behind the scales, is decorative. You know, it's decorative, but it's also it bites into your hand a little bit if you give it a death grip. So you might want to be warned that if you get this knife and you have a death grip, Kung Fu grip, it's going to probably dig into your pinky and a little bit of your ring finger. But it's not too bad. And let's see how the reverse grip feels. Reverse grip actually feels a little better. Even though it's still digging into these fingers now, it doesn't seem to be as bad. So that's pretty good. So the grips, oh, I gotta do my precision grip. Oh, actually that feels pretty good. And the way that I'll use it most of the time, you know, cutting things and everything, you'll feel comfortable. Even though this is not an EDC. Again, just like the CRKT, this is a tactical folder. It's pretty big. Let's go ahead and go over the specs real quick. The blade is a plain blade, finally, because I'm a big fan of plain as opposed to the partially serrated. The blade length is 3.625 inches, so it's a little over 3.5 inches long. The blade material is 8CR13 MOV, so that's a Chinese steel that's sort of in the middle, medium. And for the value type knives, that's a common steel. You can get Benchmark. I think the Red Series, they use the same steel. So for the value knives, it tends to be the steel of choice, and I think it actually, I would consider it just a little bit better than CRKT's, which was the OS4. Or it's about on par, or slightly better, is where I would sort of place it. Others who have metallurgy expertise might see otherwise. The handle material, or the scales, are G10, which is very good for the price of this knife. And it's very comfortable, very grippy, has a nice texture. I'm going to go ahead and bring that in so you can see it. Has a good texturing, so it gives you a good purchase on the knife. You also can see there's some jimping right here. Let's see. It's a black knife, it's hard to focus on. And while we're here on this part of the blade, as you can see, the thumb stud is ambidextrous and it's adjustable. You can move it back and forth. You can loosen this screw with a flat head screwdriver and loosen it up and move that thumb stud back and forth. Pretty good. Continuing on with the specification, according to this, the weight is 4.2 ounces, but I just measured it as 4.9. That's kind of strange. The hardness of 8CR13 MOV is 52 to 54 HCR, Hardwell Rockness. It's, you know, it all depends on the type of temperament and how well the steel was treated. And it's a B-blast finish. It's a black finish. It's sort of a, you know how some black finishes are like very, very dull and they sort of come off on your finger? Well, this one doesn't. So I kind of like that finish. It doesn't come off easily, but it's not reflective, so they did a very good job. Now this one says SOG. I know some of these, the blade is labeled Fusion and has a little atom looking thing on it. Mine just says SOG. And oh, here's another thing that I know Mad Bad Voodoo will get very upset about. It's made in China. So if you don't want to buy a product made in China, don't buy this product. Although it's made very well. I guess they have some good quality control to make sure that even though it's made in China, it's still made well. And I think that covers most of my notes here. So I'll go ahead and put that aside. Now, as you can see, the blade is adjustable. Looks like we have a Torx screw for the pivot screw. And we also have some Torx here down the handle so you can disassemble it. The clip is a traditional SOG clip that it's not too strong, it's not too weak, feels about just right. It allows very deep carry in your pocket because it goes up too, so it goes up and over the end of the scale, so the only thing that should be sticking out of your pocket is part of the stainless steel liner. Speaking of the liner, one of the reasons why this knife is so heavy is because the liners are solid stainless steel. There's nothing cut out inside there. It's very hard to see because of everything being so black on this knife. Let's see if I can shine some light down in there. So you can see it's a solid stainless steel liner, which does come out further than the scales and gives you this neat looking pattern here. Now also, it's a lock back, and the lock does have some jimping on it, so it allows for a really strong lockup. Pretty solid lockup. I do sense a little side to side play, barely, and no up and down, so you could adjust that with the pivot screw. Let's go ahead and, wow, actually that was very smooth. That was the first time I closed this knife, as you saw. Let's see if I can close it one-handed, and yes I can. Let me see if I can flick this out without using any wrist action. I'm sure if I adjust this thumb stud to be further up, there we go. No wrist action whatsoever out of the box. So it's a very smooth lockup and a very smooth, that's pretty impressive how smooth that is for a value knife. And the lockup is very solid with this lockback design. Very nice. I'm very impressed for the price of this knife, what you get. Now let's see, it feels pretty sharp out of the box, so let's go ahead and see what it could do with our paper test here. So very sharp. I wonder if it shaves hair. I have a lot of hair. I should start doing shaving tests. Let's see if it can. Wow, this is shaving hair, as you can see. And now you're gonna go, what are you doing to your hand? It shaves out of the box, so it comes razor sharp. Very impressive, very impressive. So this is my unboxing and first look at the SOG Salute. Oop, caught me tightening my pivot screw with my Torx wrench, Torx screwdriver. Alright, let's see. It feels a little stiffer now, so I'm going to have to use that wrist action to go ahead and get it open. But let's see if we have any blade play. Pretty good. How about centering? Blade centering. Blade centering is perfect, as you can see. So, you know, SOGs, for me, have been notoriously problematic out of the box as far as blade play. I've always seemed to, I would say, 75% of the time, when I pull a SOG out of the package, it has a little side-to-side play. You know, so I don't know why, whether it be their value fusion or their regular line of knives. They just, I don't know, I guess they want to let the user decide how how stiff or how much play they want in the blade, whatever. So now, of course, it's a little stiff because I had to tighten it up. But incredibly good, solid lockup. I like the sound of that lockup, don't you? It's just a very nice sounding. I like that tactile feel when you get a lockup like that. Now, if I were to put these head to head, which knife would I pick? Well, I do prefer for a tactical knife to have a tonneau blade. However, I'm not a big fan of the serrations. This doesn't have serrations. This is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. This is a little bit heavier. I do like these guards on the CRKT, but the grip on the SOG, it really comes up so far that your finger is down there pretty deep in the handle, and you have the jimping on the top. But I don't feel like I would lose control of this knife where my hand would come down on the blade. Absolutely not, if you are gripping it correctly either way. So, and you know, I don't feel like the liner is really bad as far as digging into your hand terribly. You know, you notice it out of the box, but as I'm gripping it here, showing you it's really not bugging me too bad. And how, you know, it's a tactical knife, so how often are you going to sit there gripping it? You know, you're going to be using it in your tactical situation, and that's it. It'll be perfectly fine. So, and it looks very cool. You know, that the liner, because it's designed, that makes it just look really nice. I like the total blackout kind of look of this. It's pretty cool. Now, the clip, which I do like SOG's clips, can be relocated on the other side, but it's always tip up carry no matter what. So you could do it left or right, tip up is your choices. So if I were to put these two against each other, this has, you know, being slightly smaller, lighter. I don't know. I think if I got into a tactical situation, I would rather have the CRKT. I just like these blade guards. I like the tonneau blade, and I like the weight of this. I like heavier, more solid feeling knives, and this just feels like a rock in your hand compared to this. You know, this is a little bit lighter, but those of you who are weight conscious might prefer this. Now, this is probably small for a tactical knife, but it's still considered a tactical folder. So if you're looking for something that sort of teeters on the edge of almost being a EDC, you know, if you're in areas that are not sensitive to, you know, blades being a little over 3.5 inches, this might be perfect, a perfect compromise between the two for you. In my state, I would be hesitant to walk around with a blade over 3 inches, even though it's not against the law. I would still be hesitant for anything over 3 inches. I don't want to get anybody excited or make anyone feel threatened in my communist state. So, now, for me, I would give this about a 7 out of 10. You know, the CRKT, I'll tell you, I think I gave it an 8. If I didn't, I'll tell you now that I've had it a week and everything, I would give it an 8. And I think I hit it really hard for having OS4 steel. So, but this says 8 CRMOV, which is a pretty good medium of the road Chinese steel. Very good for a knife in this price range of $35. What I paid for it, you could probably find it as cheap as $30, maybe even $25 if you look hard enough online. So, there you are, another episode of the Gear Obsession channel. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd like to thank those who have served and are serving in the military, police, fire, and other public service. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.